Hi everyone, hope you're all doing good. Okay, so this is the third round draw for the 32nd edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard game. Uh, okay, so for this round we have nine people left. We had 19 left in the second round, and now heading into the third, we only have nine left. So we'll just quickly go over them, remind ourselves who's still in this. They are Cheeseball, D1, D4, K10. Foghorn Sam, Jack Soto, KK Kombu, MMA Miyagi, Mule Floyd, Six, and Trick. Okay, so they're the nine people left in it. So we go back to this well, I suppose slightly unusual fight week really, because I've had to make this video a day earlier than normal, which means that it's being made before the weigh-ins. So apologies in advance if anyone gets drawn with a fighter and then that fighter goes on to have their fight cancelled, either due to them or their opponent missing weight. But can't be helped for this week due to real life. But yeah, so it's a slight added bit of risk onto it this week. But just have to hope that as well as winning their fight, they actually make it to their fights. But hopefully nobody does get eliminated that way, as that would be a very anticlimactic way to go out. But anyway, for this week we have UFC Fight Night in Canada. Rene de Ridder versus Brendan Allen. And Rene de Ridder's certainly made quite an impression since coming into the UFC, hasn't he? He's got a whole string of wins. Kind of slowed down a little bit in maybe his momentum with because he was finishing everyone first, and then Robert Whitaker has taken him to a very close split decision. But it was one I thought we won, to be fair. But I thought De Ridder won that, to be fair. But yeah, it's just it gives us a good idea as to whereabouts his level might be in the UFC. We've obviously got another tough opponent in Brendan Allen. Um, and again, he's Brendan Allen's been in very good form himself, but won that unanimous decision against Vittori in his last one. Did lose a couple of decisions against Anthony Hernandez and Nasruddin Imavov in the lead up to that. But as for this fight, I can expect it to be a very grappling heavy affair. Both are very dangerous on the ground. So normally I'd probably be picking Brendan Allen by a sub, but not against De Ridder simply because of De Ridder's own uh, submission prowess. But this one, I'm tempted to go for another decision win here for Rene de Ridder. Okay, so that's my prediction for the main event, but you're not here to listen to me ramble about the main event. Of course, you're here to see who you're going to get drawn with. So, without further ado, let's get on with this. First up is Cheeseball. Let's see who Cheeseball is going to be drawn with. And Cheeseball gets Hyun Sung Park. Hyun Sung Park there for Cheeseball. Hopefully, I pronounced his name right. Apologies if not, but it's a good start because I've got him to win by second round submission. Of course, he's fighting against Bruno Silva this week, and Park's coming off that first loss of his career in his last fight, submission loss to Tatsuro Zara or Terra, or however you pronounce it. Um, but again, he was came into the UFC with a ton of hype behind him, so got given the title shot straight away. So that's not really a bad loss at all. You can't really hold that one against him too much, I don't think, and I don't think he's going to have any trouble bouncing back from that one. Um, he usually finishes his opponents early before then. So yeah, I'm expecting him to get back to his old ways really. Bruno Silva, he's not in too bad form, but well, as well, it's say that, but it's that was until he came up against Van and Manuel Cape, both knocks him out. But he was looking very good until then, and I still rank him as one of the better flyweights, to be honest, even despite those two losses. But very exciting for fighter to watch for sure. So I suppose that's part of my bias, um, given given the fact that he lost his last two. But so I still think he's got a good chance. He's still well rounded. He's still it's quite a shallow division flyweight at the moment, and I think Silver, besides okay, obviously besides Joshua Van and Manuel Cape, I think he's still and of course the champion himself, but he's still above most of the people in the division. I'd easily have him in the sort of lower end of a top 10 ranking for flyweights, but is he as good as Park? Don't think so, but it's a very close fight. I'm mostly just expecting. I'm just expecting Parks to pick up his momentum from before that last. So that's the only reason I've gone with him by a second round sub. But it's not a complete um, surefire thing that Cheese will be in the next round. I think it's a little bit more likely than not that he will be. But Park should get it done. But don't count out Bruno Silva either. Okay, so we have D1, D4, K10 next up. Let's see who he's going to be paired with. And he gets drawn with Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland there for D1, D4, K10. And he can be a bit unreliable at times, if we're being honest, but he's a very solid gatekeeper, though, welterweight and middleweight on occasion as well. Of course, in the co-main event against Mike Malott, one of the hometown favourites for the Canadian cards. I've gone with Malott here for a second round submission. Even though he's got far less UFC experience, he's again a very like I was just saying about Young Sung Park, a very quick finisher. He tends to try and finish fights early where possible, and Kevin Holland has shown that he does kind of struggle against people to put the pressure on him in the past. So I'm expecting it to go that way again. Think if Mike Malott can get the can really take the fight to Kevin Holland early on, um, I don't see why he couldn't end up finishing him. So not really an awful lot I can say about that. Holland, of course, does have the experience advantage over him, and to be honest, I think Kevin Holland could win this as well because on his day he could win or lose against anyone. You just don't know what version of Kevin Holland's going to turn up. I think part of it is a motivation thing. I think it's some fights he's more motivated for than others, so we're not quite sure where exactly his mindset or motivation to win this one is, but at the moment, but Mike Malott's going to be up for it, so in front of his home crowd as well. So yeah, I think this is it's not the best pick, but again, with Kevin Holland, you just never know with him, do you? You just never know with that guy. Um, so yeah, maybe an upset on the cards, but I don't think Mike Malott's going to allow Kevin Holland to cause that upset. Okay, Foghorn Sam next to learn his fate. Let's see. Foghorn Sam gets paired with, and he gets Yusri Balgorio. Yusri Balgorio. Absolutely butchered that name, but so apologies to him. But yeah, G O U yeah, something like that. Probably not spelt it right, but anyway, he's up against Azamat Bakoev. who's, to be honest, a far more experienced fighter than him. Bakova's got 23 fights under his belt, 20 wins, 3 losses, compared to only the 11 for Usri, was the 8-3 records. Bakov's not got too much more in terms of UFC experience. He's only 2-0 in the promotion, but this is, of course, Usri's debut in the UFC. Um, but yeah, no, I think with Bakoev, when you look at those two UFC fights in particular, both wins by knockout. Uh, that's a pattern that's continued if you look into his regional records. And again, it's not even just knockouts. He's got quite a lot of submission victories on there too. It's probably about half and half in terms of knockouts and submission rates. But again, another fighter tends to put the pressure on early, goes to the finish. Um, I think, yeah, Ushi's just going to be completely outmatched here. I think it's just the golfing experience is just going to be a bit too much for him to overcome. Um, and another highlight reel knockout for Bakoev. So yeah, I think the other two are both. Well, we've had what we've had to come out so far. We had Park, who's I'd say is a favourite or should be a favourite. Kevin Holland's underdog, but you can't rule him out either. And now we got the first one. I think, yeah, actually, I don't really fancy him at all, if I'm being completely honest. So I think Foghorn Sam's going to need a little bit of luck on Saturday night. Okay, Jack Soto next to learn his fate. Let's see who Jack Soto is going to be paired with. Oh, and he gets Mike Malott, so that's head to head there. Mike Malott for Jack Soto. That, of course, puts him at odds with D1 D4K10, who has Kevin Holland. And like I've said earlier, it's this a lot of it comes down to which version of Kevin Holland turns up because I've no idea what my personal pick history is with Kevin Holland, but I can't imagine it's a very positive one. I can imagine I've probably picked him to win the fights that he's ended up losing, and then picked him to lose the fights that he ended up going to win. It's a very unpredictable fighter. But Mike Malott, though, should, in my opinion, he's got everything besides the experience over Kevin Holland. Um, Obviously, I suppose to be honest, I'd probably say Kevin Holland's got better fight IQ as well because of that, if I'm being honest. But again, it's just this style of the opponent. We've seen plenty of times that if an opponent comes and puts pressure on Holland straight away, as Mike Malott will, yeah, he does tend to sort of. I'm not going to say give up the fight, but he definitely struggles against pressure fighters. So that should be Mike's tactic, as it always is so far, from what we've seen of him. And yeah, and I say in front of his home crowds, he's going to want to continue his good start to the UFC with a win against Kevin Holland, and I think it's very doable. So Jack Soto versus D1 D4K10. I think Jack Soto's definitely got the more favourable side of that head to head. Okay, so we have KK Kombu next to discover his fate. Oh, and he gets Azamat Bekoev. So that's another head-to-head um, for in this game. So obviously, KK Kombu with Azamat Bekoev now. Foghorn Sam was usually Belgoroy, or however you pronounce his name. And so yeah, two different head-to-heads add a bit of intrigue to this. And in doing so, almost guarantees a fourth round as well. Um, but anyway, as said earlier, Bakoev far more experienced than Yushri is. So, um, and again, starts the fights well. Usually gets a lot of early finishes. his first two in the UFC have been knockouts. It's yeah, I just think Ustri is going to be completely overwhelmed in this one. Uh, I've seen him a couple of times on the Contender Series and with one win, not one loss, but to be honest, there's not really a lot to go off. And judging by that, I'm not convinced he's really capable of stopping the pressure of Bakoov. So I think KK Kombu's definitely got the upper hand in that little head-to-head. Okay, so MMA Miyagi, our debutant in this. I believe he's the last of the debutants still in this. So good luck to you. Let's see if you can keep this, well, so far undefeated run going. Let's see who MMA Miyagi is going to be drawn with. And he gets Manon Fiorot. Manon Fiorot there for uh, MMA Miyagi. Um, Obviously, coming off of that last loss against Valentina Shevchenko for the flyweight title, lost by unanimous decision, of course. Not a bad fight, and to be honest, Valentina was always going to be the heavy favourite for that one. So I don't think we can really hold that against Manon too much. But she has beaten pretty much everybody else in the division not named Shevchenko. Uh, I say, look at the ones she's beaten. She's been Blanchfield, Rose Namajunas, Caitlin Samina, Jennifer Meyer. She's beaten all of them. Up against Jasmine Jasudavicius, one of our Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Famers, actually. She won the 16th edition for Dr. Maxis 2 in the fourth round. Uh, Obviously, no one's been drawn with her yet in this one, but it's a good thing too because I think Fiorot is going to win this. Another unanimous decision incoming, if, in my opinion. Jasuda Vicious is on very good form at the moment, five-fight win streak, but uh, mostly poses more of a submission threat. But again, I don't think it's really enough of a threat for Fiorot, who, so she's gone 5 rounds with Shevchenko, and okay, she did lose that one uh, quite clearly, but she never really looks in a lot of danger of being finished. Whereas, in other words, what I'm saying is I just don't think Jasuda Vicious is going to be the person to finish Fiorot. Um, and that's probably her best chance of winning if it were to happen. If she were to get the win in this fight. So, yeah, all in all, I think it's good pick there for MMORG. And I think we expect to see him in the fourth round. Mule Floyd next to learn his fate. See who the wheel's going to pair Mule Floyd with. And Mule Floyd gets Davy Grant, fellow British person. Uh, British person, Brits, whatever I want to call her. So I suppose that works. Unusual way of saying it, but so it's like nearly 4 in the morning over here. So long night at work. It's Anyway, he's up against another of our Canadian hometown favourites, Charles Jourdain. I've got Jourdain to win by third round submission in this one, to be honest. He's got that submission win against Victor Henry last time. Um, he's has struggled over the distance in the past, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a factor in this one. I think again, he likes to finish these fights early because it's both a knockout threat and a threat on the ground too, to be fair to him, but which is probably the more likely route to victory uh, based on his last performance. So he has been on the wrong end of a few decisions in his career, but I don't think Davy Grant's going to be able to take him the distance, if I'm being completely honest. Davy Grant is fairly comfortable going the distance, has done several times himself. Whether he can take a fighter of Jordane's caliber to the distance, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe a few years ago, perhaps, but right now, I'm not 100% convinced. It's going to be a very tough fight for him, and uh, and I have gone with a third round sub for Jourdain, as I don't think it's going to be an easy night's work for him. But still, I think we should still get a win. Um, There's a Grant as well. Quite a few of his losses have come by submission as well. So that combined with the submission threat that Jourdain offers in his last fight, obviously you have the confidence to try that again, given he won his last one by submission. Um, yeah, I just don't think this is going the distance, which would be Grant's best way of uh, getting a win if he is to get anything out of this. If he is going to drag Mule Floyd into the fourth round, but I just don't think he can survive the submission threat that Charles Jourdain poses. So I think this might be where we say goodbye to Mule Floyd. It's a shame he does some great breakdowns as well. I'll just give you a shout out for that because the breakdowns always help to manage the help us to follow the chaos that the wheel presents to us each and every week. So yeah, we appreciate your efforts for that, and good luck with this. I hope you do go through, but because I don't really care who wins this fight either way, to be honest. I suppose it should be a little bit more biased towards Grant, given he's British, but yes, best of luck, and I think you're going to need it, to be honest. Okay, so down to our last two now. Next is CN6. See who CN6 gets paired with. And CN6 gets Tainara Lisboa. Tainara Lisboa there for CN6. And won't have to wait too long to learn his fate. Opening fight on the card against another Canadian hometown favourite in Melissa Croden. Uh, this is, of course, Melissa Croden's UFC debut. She's 2-1 in the LFA coming into this one, so not too bad regional record, to be fair to her. Um, Pure knockout artist from what we've seen of her so far. So, on one hand, it does kind of make me wonder: are we looking at sort of a Mike Tyson-esque Venom here, or are we, uh, or were the quality of her opponents not that great? That's that's what we're going to find out here at the UFC level. Lisboa, on the other hand, who obviously CN6 has been paired with, three fights in the promotion, 2-1 record, so fairly respectable start so far. A little bit more well-rounded, I'd say, more of a submission threat than Croden has shown to be so far. But she's got knockout power too. But I think in terms of if we're going to give the knockout power advantage to either fighter here, that would probably have to give to Croden. Um, Not an awful lot in terms of overall MMA experience, in terms of only a couple of fights in it, but just based alone on the UFC experience, the fact that Lisboa has already proven herself a little bit at UFC level, I've got to go with her. Uh, and by second round submission as well, simply because that doesn't seem to be an area that Croden's been tested on too much. She's never been finished in Croden's defense, but I think Lisboa is going to be the first to really ask her some really tough questions on the ground. So I think it's a fairly decent pick there for CN6. I think CN6 should have a fairly respectable chance of getting through to the fourth round. Okay, and finally we have Trig. Let's see who Trig is going to be paired with. And I suppose that makes that fight the main event or the unofficial Lucky Bastard main event, as Trig has been paired with Azamat Bakoev. Um, Azamat Bakoev there again for Trig. So that means that we now have both KK Kombu and Trig with Azamat Bakoev uh, against Foghorn Sam with Yusri Balgaroni. Um, and as I've already said a few times, gone by first round knockout for Koev. So Trig and KK Kombu are, I'll say, on the more favourable end of that. Uh, so the experience is just so much bigger. There's a huge golfing experience between Bakoev and uh, Balgori in terms of their MMA experience. And I think that's going to pretty much determine the fights. I think whichever way I look at this, I can't see how the UFC aren't just setting up Yusri for a to be on the end of another highlight reel knockout because Bakoev's got everything you look for in if you're trying to promote a new up and coming fighter. Good record, uh, won by knockout in the first two fights in the promotion. Um, yeah, that's exactly what the UFC will want. That's exactly what Dana White or Hunter Campbell are going to want to see. So, in terms of a marketable fighter, so yeah, as I met Bakoa for a first round knockout, I think that KK Kombu and Trig would be going through at the expense of Foghorn Sam, in my opinion. Okay, so that completes the third round draw. Just run through those names one more time, just to uh, go over who's been drawn with who. We have Cheeseball with Hyunson Park, D1 D4 K10 with Kevin Holland, Foghorn Sam with Yusri Balgaruri, Jack Soto with Mike Malott, KK Kombu with Azamat Bakoev, MMA Miyagi with Manon Firo, Mule Floyd with Davy Grant, Sion Six with Tainara Lisboa, and Trig also with Azamat Bakoev. So that concludes the third round draw. As we said with this one earlier in the game, it is a slightly more risky third round because um, as well as trying to win their fights, they've also got to make sure that your fighters make weight because unfortunately, due to real life, I've had to make this video before the weigh-in. So always try to make these videos after the weigh-ins where possible, but it's not possible this week. If your fighter, just to clarify, basically, in order to get through, your fighter has to both fight and win uh, in order to get through. If your fighter misses weight, has to pull out the fight for whatever reason, illness, injury, weight miss, fight cancelled, you'll be going out. So that would count as a loss for the purposes of this game. Because on the basis of that would be really unlucky. And you can't have unlucky people going through in this game. That would define the point of it, wouldn't it? And then on the other side of things, if your fighter does make weight, but your fight still gets cancelled because the other guy screwed up again, you'd still be out, unless, of course, your fighter does actually still fight on the cards, even if they get a different opponent. As long as your fighter makes it into the cage and wins their fight, that would count. This week, of course, that is. So, I mean, if obviously if one of these fights gets rescheduled to next week or a few weeks, obviously it still counts the loss. But as long as this week they get in the cage and they win the fight, that's that's good. You'll be going through. But hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully there won't be any weight misses, or well, there's probably going to be a few weight misses, but I mean weight misses that the UFC will let slide, or still let the fight go ahead. Um, of course, for the sake of the fighters, hopefully no injuries or illnesses, and hope no illnesses related to weight cutting specifically. But anyway, as for you guys, all it leaves me to say is good luck in this game. Good luck with the weigh-ins tomorrow as well as the fights. Um, Good luck with your picks on Tapology. If you've got any bets on this card, good luck with those. But until next time, so long for now.